Hello my dears, welcome back to my channel. I know I've kind of been all over the place for the last couple of months, but we are officially back to a regular upload.
This is the most YouTuber thing to say. It's just I'm back. Every time you disappear, I'm back. Like how many times are you coming back, you know?
Schedule. Did you miss me? Today's topic that I want to discuss with you all is OnlyFans. So the reason why I want to talk about OnlyFans is because I've noticed that there are a lot of young women who seem to be joining the platform. And I think a lot of it is likely motivated by the fact that they're seeing other young women discuss how successful they've managed to be on OnlyFans and the amount of money they've been able to make each month on OnlyFans.
I'm making 10 grand a month on OnlyFans. I was like, what the heck?
Get your ass up and work. It seems like nobody.
Oh my god. Sometimes I wonder, why are these boys paying for this, bro? Is that all you came, like, really, bro? My god. Just tips alone is 400. Post, 8,000. Messages, 7,000. Bro, I wish I was a girl, I ain't gonna lie. Because men are fucking dumb. If men are willing to pay this amount of money just to see some fucking... That's crazy.
Nobody wants to work these days.
That's so true.
You have to surround yourself with people that want to work.
Bro.
So far this month, I made $2,540 US. November, 4,000.
What the fuck are they showing, bro? What are they showing for them to get this amount of money? This is crazy.
And October, 8,000. September, 9,000. In August, 6,000.
Because of that, I think it is important for us to have a conversation about OnlyFans and the reality of what it can look like to be on OnlyFans.
Okay.
Because I think that sometimes...
This is a woman's perspective, so I'm not trying to, like, you know, make it my way.
People only see the more glamorous side of OnlyFans. They see the OnlyFans models who are making ridiculous amounts of money a month, who are able to travel and have luxurious lifestyles. And so they think that that is what they'll be able to obtain as well if they hop on the platform. Less is really discussed about the more darker side of OnlyFans, or the side that's less glamorous, if you will. And so that is the purpose of this video, is to bring light to more of that side of the platform, because I do think that it's important for consent to be fully informed. I think that it's important for people to know both the pros and the cons, the good, the bad, the ugly of decisions that they make and what it can look like for them long term, so that they don't have to learn the hard way through experience. I can already see the comments now. Patience, are you trying to shame OnlyFans workers? There are two thought processes that frustrate me about people on the internet. The first one is this idea that anytime you try and explain something or try and offer an understanding for something, it automatically means that you either condone it or you're trying to justify it, which I think is so ridiculous. Like, I can understand why a really hungry person would steal. Does that mean that I think that stealing is a great thing for people to do?
Fair enough.
No. I can explain to you why cancer kills people. Does that mean that I think that cancer killing people is a vibe? No. I think it's important for people to realize that you can offer explanations for something or try and offer understanding for something even if you don't agree with it. The second thing that annoys me about the internet is that anytime you offer criticisms about something, that automatically means that you either are trying to shame it or that you hate it. I have a lot of criticisms about people who wear flip-flops instead of practical shoes.
Hey, yo, what? What's wrong with flip-flops? Oh my god, my headphones. What's wrong with that? You guys fuck with this? I think it's a good flip-flop. I love it. I've been wearing this for a while now. Why is she shaming me? Is that what we're doing now? 2023? Flip-flop shaming? That shit is cool. That ain't cool. That ain't cool. Not cool at all. We're not supposed to shame one.
Okay? Now, does that mean that I think that flip-flop wearers should all just be rounded up and thrown into camps?
Hey,
yes.
Yo.
Joking, okay? I know jokes are illegal now, but that was a joke. I think people should be allowed to wear whatever footwear makes them feel...
She should be cancelled. Her platform shouldn't exist.
...the most comfortable, even if I personally have concerns about their practicality and their health and safety risks. Do you know how many accidents and deaths are caused worldwide by flip-flop wearers?
Yo.
A lot more than you would think. But no one wants to talk about these more pressing issues. But anyway, enough of that tangent. Let's actually get into the topic of this video. So, OnlyFans.
What is OnlyFans?
So for those who don't know, OnlyFans is a subscription social media platform. It's very similar to other platforms like Patreon, where you can charge your subscribers money to view your content. So you can post any type of content on OnlyFans. It doesn't have to be explicit or sexual. Some people post music content on there, cooking videos on there, but it kind of blew up in popularity.
People actually post music on OnlyFans? If you're posting music on OnlyFans, you're down. You're really down.
Because of the sexual content that people were posting on it, and now it's kind
especially for those who watch and listen to those music on OnlyFans, then you're really fucking bad.
Been associated with sexual content so much that if someone says they have an OnlyFans, people automatically assume that that's the type of content that they post. Subscribers can pay anywhere from £5 to £20 a month to view content that would be too explicit for, say, Instagram or other social media platforms. And they can also send direct messages to OnlyFans creators and also ask for more personalized content. So there are a number of reasons as to why OnlyFans has been appealing to young women, the main one being financial. Sky News released an article in August 2022 titled "Cost of Living Crisis Pushing More Women into Sex Work and Unable to Refuse Dangerous Clients." The article discussed how, due to issues with employment and also due to the cost of living crisis, some people's jobs aren't paying them enough for them to sustain.
I don't think anyone's blaming the girls that do OnlyFans. Are they blaming them? Because it's just like YouTube. Everyone is doing YouTube, right? If you see another guy succeed in one thing, of course you're gonna follow, right?
Themselves. So some women have turned to sex work in order to make more income, and OnlyFans being one of the main.
But the negative part is that you're exposing yourself now. Imagine if you want to, I don't know, 10 years from now when OnlyFans is not there. What are you gonna do for work?
Work that they're turning to. There are many women who may not necessarily be in desperate times financially, but they will still create OnlyFans accounts, usually because they view it as a lucrative job option, because they see a lot of OnlyFans models discussing how much money they've been able to make on the platform, and so they want to also make that kind of money themselves. And so a lot of them think that, you know, this is essentially a get-rich-quick scheme. Men seem to turn to NFTs and crypto to get rich quickly. Women seem to be turning to OnlyFans. Another appeal that I've heard some people put forward about why OnlyFans is ideal for women is because it gives them the ability to control distribution, and it also allows them creative control. There are some women who've worked within the mainstream sex industry, and they have been open about the fact that they've been in situations where they've been pressured into doing things that they didn't want to do.
During my short stint in porn,
great example. Yo, Cool Gamer was good.
The really extreme acts were what was popular, and that's why, being the #1 performer in the industry at the time, everyone wanted to make money off me, so they pushed me to do these things. And it just gets really extreme, like you were saying, abusive.
Did you ever go through those experiences where you had to do a scene where it was very aggressive and you just felt like...
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail. Like, honestly, some of my experiences are really humiliating for me.
But hey, she made 4 million. She made 4 million or 6 million or something like that, right? There's pros and cons to everything. For every action, there's a consequence or something like that, right? For every action, there's a reaction or something like that.
And I wish that they never happened.
And so OnlyFans has been seen as a better alternative because to some people, it takes the women out of those situations where they could be pressured into doing stuff that they don't necessarily feel comfortable doing.
Okay.
So since the financial benefits appear to be the biggest appeal of OnlyFans, I think it's important for us to discuss the reality of just how lucrative OnlyFans actually is for an average OnlyFans model. So I came across a video by the creator named Treasures. I will be using her clips throughout this video because I actually found her video to be very informative, and I will also make sure to link it in the description below as well so you can check her out. So she herself has worked within the mainstream sex industry as well as on OnlyFans, and she was discussing how the money on OnlyFans is not as good as a lot of women think it is.
The money is not as good as you think it is. And you know what? For some people, maybe high profile people, yes, there is a lot of money out there, but it is hard to make that money and it's not the norm. The other thing that's happening is OnlyFans is blowing up, right? So there is going to be
a lot of people
a
doing
saturation of content creators, meaning over time, it's just going to get harder and harder. It's the same thing we've seen happen not only in amateur porn, but in the mainstream porn industry, that people had to keep up in their game, doing more and more hardcore content in order to make less money than they were making before. This is a reality of the industry.
The vast majority of women on OnlyFans don't actually make a lot of money unless they had a following prior. So if they had a following on other social media accounts and then they create an OnlyFans, those are usually the ones who make a lot of money. Bella Thorne made news when she made $1 million within her first day on OnlyFans. Bad Baby also made news when she made over $1 million within the first night on the platform. OnlyFans models have been open about how they dislike
whoever subscribed to Bad Baby when she did OnlyFans, seriously, FBI should do some investigations, because those are pedos or pedophiles. Bro, really? As soon as she turned 18, everyone subscribed. Oh, it's legal now. So fucking creeps, bro.
Within the first night on the platform. OnlyFans models have been open about how they dislike when celebrities and high-profile influencers join the platform, because it makes it even harder for them to compete and make money. But if you are just a regular, degular, schmegular, then the likelihood of you making that kind of money is very low. Thomas Holland analyzed the economics of OnlyFans, and he found that OnlyFans was extremely unequal economically. He found that the top 1% of OnlyFans creators make 33% of all of the money. And using the Gini index, he was able to conclude that OnlyFans was more economically unequal than South Africa, the most economically unequal country in the world. How much money exactly the average OnlyFans content creator makes? Some have estimated that it's anywhere between $140 to $180. Some other sources quote it being a bit higher, so around $160 to $200. Feminist author Louise Perry discussed OnlyFans within her.
So if you don't have a following, it's kind of useless for you to make an OnlyFans.
Book, The Case Against the Sexual Revolution, and within it she discussed how the medium OnlyFans creator only attracts 30 subscribers if they don't have a following from another platform. So I guess OnlyFans is kind of like any other social media platform in that it's very, very saturated and very competitive. So for every one creator that you see doing really well, there are thousands who weren't able to
do anything. Yeah.
However, where OnlyFans and other social media platforms...
You guys like the video? I like it. She's giving more in-depth about what OnlyFans is. Because I thought everyone was making money. Even the average girl was making money. That's what I thought. But apparently they're only making like $150 a month. That's an hourly pay like for a day for any regular worker out there.
YouTube differ is in terms of the job prospects. If someone creates a YouTube channel and it goes absolutely nowhere, then it's not a big deal. They can just simply go back to working a regular job. Whereas with OnlyFans, it's a little bit more tricky, because if you have naked images of yourself or naked videos of yourself on the internet, it could potentially affect your career prospects in terms of what kind of jobs you can go into and what kind of careers you can have, especially because now employers care a lot more about your digital footprint. And that doesn't just go for OnlyFans content. They also care about what kind of things you're tweeting, etc., because a lot of them are trying to protect their image and protect their brand. Another thing to consider about OnlyFans when it comes to job prospects is the longevity of it. OnlyFans is not the type of job that you can do for a very long time. The main reason being OnlyFans is very, very heavily determined by how attractive people find you, and so typically younger women are more attractive to men than older women. That doesn't mean, of course, that if you're an older woman you're not necessarily going to still have a market, because the MILF category seems to be quite popular. I was trying to find out what is the MILF age, and according to male Reddit users, the MILF age is 40, so you could still be able to work up until about 40. But that is still a drastically lower age than the average retirement age, which is typically around 65. So OnlyFans is definitely not a job that you'd be able to do as long as other jobs. Piracy happens all the time on OnlyFans.
That's what I'm saying. People can just like take a screenshot and upload it. I'm like, oh my god. So
OnlyFans creators are regularly having their content screenshot or having their content screen recorded and sometimes distributed to other third-party sites without their knowledge. You can get this content taken down though, because you are usually covered under the copyright infringement laws. The only problem is you would have to know everywhere where your content has been shared, and the likelihood of you being able to know that is not very high. So there is always going to be the chance that your content is going
plus,
to be...
once a video or a clip or a photo of you leak, there's not, like, you can't do anything about it. It's just leaked. You can't erase it from the internet.
Shared on third-party platforms without your knowledge, or shared between people without you being aware of it. The Daily Dot released an article titled "Piracy is Constant for OnlyFans Creators and There's Not Much They Can Do to Prevent It." Within the article, they spoke to an OnlyFans creator who had experienced having her content stolen. So what happened was one of her subscribers got angry at her because she didn't respond to his direct message quickly enough. And
it's a 40-year-old married man that's doing that, by the way. It's not children. I know for a fact it's not children because they don't have the fucking money for that. It's 40-year-old depressed man, married, and they hate their wife, so they subscribe to OnlyFans.
And so she believes that in retaliation, he was the one who stole her images and shared it across other third-party sites. When she'd found that her content had been stolen, it had been viewed 200,000 times, which is a lot more than she would normally get on her 1,000 subscribers on OnlyFans. And she states within the article how distressing she found that because she wasn't prepared for that many people to see her content. If your content is stolen and shared on a third-party site, not only do you not get paid for that because it's a third party, but also you have no control over who's seeing it. So this is something to consider if you are going to try and have an OnlyFans secretly. So if you decide that you want to have an OnlyFans, but you don't want to tell anyone that you're on OnlyFans, or you don't want anyone to find out that you're on OnlyFans, you should be prepared for the fact that that may not be within your control, because if someone steals your images and shares it onto a third party site and it gets a lot of views like hers did, there's no way for you to control who's able to access or see that. So there is always the risk that someone you know is going to discover your content. So if that's not something that you are prepared for, or if that's not something that you would be able to handle, that is something definitely to consider if you are contemplating going on OnlyFans.
Harassment and stalking too. There's a lot else to be in an OnlyFans, I ain't gonna lie.
Subscribers is hardly uncommon on OnlyFans.
This girl is changing my mind. Why I quit OnlyFans, I didn't like how it made me feel. Discarded, cheap, and used. Having my exes subscribe and ask for content made me exactly. Men will bully you for free content.
Many have said that sexual harassment is essentially a part of your job description. You will have to tolerate men objectifying you and talking to you as if you are nothing more than just a sexual object that exists purely for their sexual gratification. Because OnlyFans is very transactional. They give you money and you perform and you deliver for them what they want. And if you don't end up delivering that, they can in some cases become quite hostile. In more darker cases, OnlyFans subscribers have even stalked OnlyFans models, and in extreme cases have even murdered them. That was the case for OnlyFans model Janae Gagnier, who was found even murdered them. That was the case.
Instagram model murdered by a stalker who stabbed himself to death. Oh my god. Bro. These are the type of people you're attracting. Is
for OnlyFans model Janae Gagnier, who was found dead in her Texas home after being strangled by an OnlyFans subscriber. He had tracked down where she lived and went to go and see her, and then he ended up unfortunately murdering her and then taking his own life as well shortly after. He also wrote messages on the wall in lipstick saying, "I should have stayed in Florida. I wish I never loved her, and I was used." The Mirror also released an article discussing how a man had been arrested for stalking an OnlyFans model.
Let me see this article. Oh my god, this is so fucking bad. Pennsylvanian man charged with hiding an OnlyFans model's art. Oh my god, and secretly filming her. Really, bro?
And hiding in her attic. He had been hiding in her attic and he was secretly recording her at night when she was sleeping, as well as when she was undressing. They knew that because of the images that they found on his phone when they arrested him. It turns out that somehow he managed to get access to her keys and then he cut himself a copy so that he could access her property as and when he wanted to. Now, I know what you're thinking. Patience, how did he get the keys? Listen, if I knew, I promise you would be the first person I would tell. I have no idea. If you Google OnlyFans model deaths, there have been other stories where OnlyFans models have also been murdered by their boyfriends or by their husbands, usually due to jealousy. This obviously isn't something that happens all the time. I don't think that stalking is something that's limited just to OnlyFans creators. I think that anytime you put yourself on the internet and you're able to build a following, there's always going to be a chance that some of the people who watch you are a little bit, you know, cuckoo. There's always that risk of stalking, which is why I think it's important for you to be very mindful with how much information you share online. But I think with OnlyFans, I think the reason why it's a bit more extreme to the point of like this kind of stalking and in some cases murder is because compared to TikTok or YouTube or something, the type of parasocial relationship you create with the creator is very different. So usually the type of parasocial relationships that people create with YouTubers is more so like friendly, whereas with OnlyFans
it's sexually. That's the difference. If someone is attracted to you sexually, they just want to fuck you. They don't want to talk to you. Simple as that. But if you're a YouTuber, there's a lot of difference.
They feel like a digital girlfriend, especially because if you remember in my Hookup Culture is Bad for the Boys 2 video, I actually spoke about how one of the most popular genres on OnlyFans is the girlfriend experience. That is exactly what it sounds like. Women being paid by lonely men to pretend to be their girlfriends. So sometimes if you are having that kind of interaction with someone who maybe struggles to differentiate between fantasy and reality, you might find yourself in situations like this. Because in the first story that I spoke about, the woman who was murdered in her Texas home, I honestly don't think that he intended to kill her. This is my theory as to what probably happened. He was interacting with her through OnlyFans, having a back and forth, you know. She was probably giving him the girlfriend experience. And he probably started to feel like their connection was more genuine than it.
I don't understand. Why are men so dumb, though? Why do people subscribe to OnlyFans hoping, like, they know for a fact that a lot of people are watching her, okay? You're not the only one subscribing to her. Why do you think you got a chance? I don't understand. If you're depressed, bro, find other things to do. Please. It's crazy to see men online simping. That's the right word. Simping for a girl because they're lonely. That's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. There's 8 billion people out there, and there's a highly chance of you finding one. Please don't be like that. Okay? Just because you subscribe to her, just because she texts you, even though she's not the one texting you, doesn't mean that she actually likes you. Okay? Wake up. Wake up.
It actually was. So then he then decided that he was going to go and travel across state to go and see her, because in his fantasy what was going to happen was he was going to turn up and she was going to be like, oh my god, the love of my life has found me, and then they were going to live happily ever after. What probably more realistically ended up happening when he turned up to her door was she was like, ew. And in that moment, I think that the fantasy shattered. He realized that their relationship was never really a relationship. It was always transactional. It was artificial intimacy. There was nothing genuine about any of the interactions they had had. And I think in that moment he probably had like a mental breakdown and strangled her in a crime of passion. The reason why I think that is because of all the writings that he put on the wall. Those writings were very indicative of him spiraling.
And then he killed himself. That's because that's when you know that he actually deeply loved her. I can't fathom the fact that this person actually thought that he had a chance by meeting someone online who has a OnlyFans, thinking that she actually liked him. Crazy.
Murdered her, very likely. Like, these are the things that were probably going through his head after he killed her. I do think there's a conversation to be had about the ethics of the girlfriend experience content on OnlyFans, because personally I don't think that it's ethical. I don't think it's right to exploit the loneliness of men for profit. They're longing for intimacy and connection.
But you can't blame them, though. You can't blame them. First of all, you can't blame the girls because they're taking advantage of something, right? If you have an advantage or anything where you can possibly make an earning of it, highly, like a lot of money from it, I don't blame it. I would have done the same thing. I'm not gonna sit here and cap and say no. Like, we've seen it with gangsters that sell drugs to addicted people. They could be like, oh, this person is actually addicted to this thing, to this drug. Why would I give it to him? But plus, you gotta understand, this man wants to feed his family, so you give it to him and earn the money. Same thing with those girls. If they can find a lonely ass 40 ass man he's not married, he's not fucking let me just put it this way, lonely 40-year-old married, doesn't have a happy life, he wants someone to have a relationship with him, he's sad, depressed, blah blah blah, that's his way out, good. The female that's doing OnlyFans should take advantage of that. Simple as that. The same way a fucking drug dealer is taking advantage of a addicted person, that's the same way.
I just don't think
I don't blame them.
We're in a healthy society, you guys. That this is not healthy. It's one thing to be using OnlyFans as like a transactional material platform, right? But it's another thing to be using it for intimacy. It's very, very sad, but that's the world we're living in.
Yeah,
I guess
we're living in.
Although some women view OnlyFans as better than the mainstream sex industry because of the fact that it gives them more creative control and it gives them control over distribution, a lot of OnlyFans models have actually said that they still feel a lot of pressure. From what I've seen, it seems as though in the mainstream sex industry, you're being pressured by directors on set. But on OnlyFans, you're being pressured by the subscribers. There are subscribers who will send in requests and who will want to get women to do certain things that they may not feel comfortable doing. And a lot of women feel pressure to do it in order to appease their subscribers and in order to keep them interested.
You might get on there and be like, you know what? I'm only going to do bikini. I'm only going to do lingerie. I'm not doing anything more. But the sad reality is that there is a dark black hole of demand that is constantly pressuring to do more. And it's an easy trap to fall into, right? Because you might get a subscriber, you might get someone who's paying you at first, but once they feel like, oh, I've already seen everything, then they're going to be pressuring you to do more. And it's going to be a very difficult thing to keep your boundaries and not push past that. True. What happens for so many of us is that the money and the pressure gets to us, not all of a sudden, but sometimes just gradually over time. And one day you will wake up and realize that you did more than you ever thought you would, and you've gone farther than you ever thought you would.
Whoa, what the fuck was that? You would than you ever thought you would? What the fuck? Oh, that really hurt my brain, bro. We'll be back at it. Am I back? I'm just waiting for confirmation. I think I'm back. Good.
She said that she loves what she does, but it comes at a price and it has ruined her dating life. In the interview, she detailed how when men find out about her job, they expect her to give up sex very easily because of the nature of her work. And when she doesn't, they lose interest. And it seems as though the general common viewpoint from men when it comes to OnlyFans is that they think that OnlyFans models are fine to play around with, but not to actually take seriously. If you remember recently, I did a poll on my community tab for my own primary research because I am indeed a scientist. I am the science. Because I wanted to know if it made a difference if someone's OnlyFans was in the past. 31,000 of you took part in the poll. Thank you very much. And so the question that I posed was, would you commit to someone who used to have an OnlyFans? So I did divide the poll between men and women because I wanted to know if there was a difference in attitudes towards dating OnlyFans models between men and women. Based on the results of the poll, it doesn't seem.
Okay. So women said yes, women said no, man said yes. Yeah, no one likes them, even if you're a woman or a man. No one likes it.
As though there's a big difference between men and women when it comes to their openness to dating OnlyFans models. So I was reading some of your comments as well to kind of get an idea as to why people wouldn't want to date the OnlyFans models. And so some of the interesting responses I got were, dating an OnlyFans model is an instant no for me. That's not because sex workers are less than, it's simply because we view intimate moments differently. Someone else said, I'm African, South African to be specific.
Okay.
So perception from my community as well as my family is of great importance. If my girl had an OnlyFans and it was known, my family's reputation would be negatively impacted. And someone else said, as a woman, if I found out that my man is or has been promiscuous, that would be an immediate turn off. And another person said, if I didn't want to have children, I would. But because I do, I can't. Kids can be so cruel in school. And when your parent has naked images of them all over
Imagine about that. Imagine having a OnlyFans and you're so fucking popular, and then your son getting bullied for it for the rest of his years.
the internet, you're a walking target. So based on the comments that I saw under that post, it seems like the most common reasons as to why people would be uncomfortable dating an OnlyFans model boils down to difference in values. So how the person views intimacy. There are some people who would just prefer to date someone who views sex as more of a private and more intimate experience, as opposed to a commodity that can be shared with the public. And the second main reason was very reputation based. So a lot of them cared about, you know, how that would appear to the general public, to their family, to their community, and also the long-term effects it would have on their children. And so the final issue that I'll be discussing about OnlyFans is trauma. So there are a lot of psychological tolls that come from doing sex work, whether you're in the mainstream sex industry or whether you're on OnlyFans. The first is the effect it has on your body image. So women who have worked within the mainstream sex industry or have worked on OnlyFans have noted that you do need to have quite thick skin, because one of the things that happens is that subscribers feel as though they have the right to critique every inch of your body. This is also the reason why a lot of women within the sex industry end up getting a lot of plastic surgery, because they're always trying to maximize their profitability, their marketability. That is something that can, in some cases, have a long-term effect on people's self-esteem. Another issue that a lot of women who are on OnlyFans have is that they struggle to have healthy relationships with men. And one of the biggest reasons for this is because they interact with some of the worst men. These women would be interacting with men who are married and have subscribed to their OnlyFans behind their wife's back. They will be interacting with men who are entitled, who objectify them. They will be regularly interacting with men who sexually harass them, who send them the most degrading sexual requests. So naturally, because you're going to be interacting with some of the worst men in society, it can kind of warp your perception of men. It's kind of like if you've ever worked in a call center, like a customer service call center, it's very easy for you to think that the company you work for is the worst company in the world, because all you ever hear is complaints. Even though the complaints that you have only accounts for maybe like 5% of customers, but 95% of customers are usually very happy, because you don't
Good analogy, W analogy.
Interact with those ones. You only interact with the ones who call in to complain. It's very easy for you to think that the company is so bad. And kind of the same applies for OnlyFans. If you interact with the worst types of men, it's very easy for you to think that all men are like that. So a lot of OnlyFans models end up developing a lot of trust issues, and so that can have a detrimental effect on your relationships. This also affects women's ability to pair bond, because if you're very guarded and you don't trust men and you have all of these negative views about men, it's going to be very hard for you to actually allow yourself to connect and build a bond with someone. There's also data that shows that women who work with...
What did she say? Having OnlyFans is so painful. I'm assuming this is emotionally, right? Imputationally? I don't know. I think it's emotionally. Felt like a bad bitch when I made it, but most days I feel like nobody gonna love me.
Within the sex industry are much more likely to develop psychological issues down the line, especially PTSD.
Here's why starting an OnlyFans was the worst decision I made in my life. Did not realize that I was literally selling parts of my soul, and the money could have never made it worth it. I just wish that someone would have warned me and told me that I was going to be later experiencing PTSD from the sexual trauma and the experiences that I was subjecting myself to on a daily basis. I did not know that I would later need to be in trauma counseling. It brought me into way darker places than I ever could have imagined, and I never want to go back there. I wish I could go back in time to who I was before I started doing all that stuff and just tell myself that the money is not worth it. Keep your happiness. And that's all I want to tell any girl who's thinking about starting an account. I just hope I can save even just one girl from going through the pain and the trauma that I am now going through because I subjected myself to that for the last couple years.
There is actually a really good TikTok account called Profit from Trauma. I'll also link her in my description box as well, where she talks quite candidly about her experience within the sex industry and also experiences of other women who she also met while she was doing sex work. I find her videos quite interesting and quite informative. I will be linking all of the videos that I showed within this video in my description box if you wanted to watch them in their entirety. And with that, I will bring this video to a close. If you made it this far into the video, then you may as well like and subscribe. I am also on other socials if you'd like to check.
I like the video. It's a good video. It is a good video. Patience. How do you spell that?
She don't believe in shooting stars, but she